Welcome back. That was, pardon me, a subsection of the House of Rep members deliberating on alternative means to alleviating the suffering of Nigerians as regard removal of fuel subsidy, finding alternatives to fuel itself. We saw mentions of compressed natural gas there and the implications for replacing fuel in the short term before full transition to renewable energy. But that and many more we'll be discussing as the program continues. I've been joined now by policy analyst Dr. Sulaiman Abdullahi. He joins me now to speak on the state of the nation and a host of issues bordering the country at the moment. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure meeting you once again. How are you doing?
I'm good.
That's
and you?
Interesting. Fine.
It's good to have you back. Yeah. All right. So let's start with the issue of fuel subsidies has lingered. The aftermath and the effects keep on coming in, and reactions and so on. The president gave his speech just a night before, speaking of how some of these things could be handled and saying that if there was another way, he would consider it, but this is the only way, and so it has to be the way it has to be. What's your take on how things are faring so far and these solutions that people are proffering left, right, and center?
Quite interesting, Martin. Let me tell you, in any situation like this, in the advanced country, to cushion effects, to have a remedy or an alternative way out, to soften the normal way of life for your citizens, have two dimensions. You have the short-term measure and the long-term measures. Now, what you need to put in place as a mechanism to cushion the effect of the hardship of this fuel subsidy removal is the short-term measures. And what are supposed to be the short-term measures? Then, as a policy maker, Mr. President, waiting for his minister to settle down, will now look at what the long-term measures. The short-term measure, as a president, you will take an individual responsibility to look at what can I use to cushion the effect of this fuel subsidy removal, so that to make as a palliative, as a measure for my citizens. Number one, if you look at it, these are two aspects you look at. The short-term effect, that look, you have some cash with you. Yes, because what we have made out of the first subsidy removal is still there. So about 500 billion naira is there with you. Good. That's number one. Number two, listening, I will not go direct into the Mr. President's speech. He mentioned taking about 75 billion naira, which want to bring about 75 investors to have, you understand, now to stimulate the economic aspect from the microfinance aspect of Nigeria, so that they can establish some kind of small and medium enterprises whereby employment can begin to immediate people to resolve, so reduce the level of dependence on government and other issues, you understand, that are also a palliative measure. But that's not what we are saying. We need direct impact on the citizen. Number one, if I am Mr. President, we have 6 geopolitical zones in this country. What are we do? With this money, the issue will bounce back and it have a trickle effect on every aspect of our life cycle. What you just do is on transportation. People are spending serious amount of money on transportation. When we are spending like 200 naira, now you'll be forced to spend up to like 600 times 3 of that 600 naira. So what do? In those days, I could remember we have federal urban mass transport. What stops you from inaugurating a committee, look at how you can bring out of this money, use your executive power to buy this transport buses within the 6 geopolitical, let them operate within the major city of the country, Kanu, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos, you understand now, across the 6 geopolitical zone to cushion the effect of this price hike, so that with this it's an immediate remedy to it. People will know that, look, I just have to be a such patient and either come out early or queue to get the bus to where I'm going to at a very discount, rate, fare. Good. That's one of the short-term measures. Number 2, issues like this, you look at it, look at the organization of how people spend money. What are the immediate needs of the people that will lead to to the cost of price that affect the life of the people, citizens. One, we are talking of foodstuffs. Then how transportation still affect these things. So what you need to do is that, look, have a meeting with National Union of Road Transport Workers. You understand now? Delegate some individuals, speak with these people. Let them not take advantage of this situation, because people are ripping off the citizens because of this hike. You look at people charging 1,000 instead of maybe 300 at least. So you need to talk to these people and bring them to their senses. Let them know, look, they are part of the part of the system. That is number 2. Number 3 is that we have other measures. The other time I learned he opened the border, and later it was closed. That it was not open fully to all commodity or product. Look at it. We have our reserves, grain reserve, the rice, the millet, the beans, other things. Open the reserve so that those that want to hike the price of food that will have direct impact of the people. You have surplus in the market. When you have surplus, understand now, then the demand will also meet up with what? With the supply. The supply will meet up with the demand. So now we have enough food in the market, so that those that want to take advantage from the farm product they have kept in their silos will not have the time to do that. So these are the immediate interim effect that you need to put in place. Open your reserve, bring out what you have in your reserve, like grains and food and other things, sell to people. Then what you will do, call the stakeholders in this transport aspect, talk to them, then open what we call the transport urban mass transport exit or federal transport assistance project. You bring it out.
Yeah, but the president did say there would be some sort of what I call a collaboration or understanding with transporters, where some manner of subsidy for transport will be done. Do you think that can work in terms of, if he's talking about private transporters, do you see any corruption coming into this, where the government gives these transporters a certain amount of money so that they can reduce their prices, but in the reality the prices might not really drop?
You see, I want to cut you short. Let's go back to history. All these issues of private, direct government, having some link with the private in the system working, it doesn't work for Nigerians, and it doesn't work for the previous government before now. How? What happened to the telecom industry? It doesn't work in. You understand now? We have the MTEL. What happened? It died prematurely. Let me tell you, what happened to the energy sector, the power sector? Up till now, it's still a hell of a problem here and there. Generation will tell you have enough, you have enough distributors, will tell you Genco, will tell you this. This is the crisis we have when you want to cushion the effect of such things within the private sector. And a lot of corruption will go in. So what we need to do is, look, let the government take a pragmatic action, proactive action. You understand now? As an executive order, do it on your own. That will spell who you are as a president. You know what I'm saying? It will tell us who you are as a president. Let me tell you, for example, if this is what we are saying, we know we are in a democratic system whereby some issues have to go through the National Assembly process before you get it done. But you use your executive fiat to think of measures. What do I do? Look, Ahmad, let me tell you. You see, in this country, we fail to take advantage of what we have. We are talking of labor. We are talking of ASU, doctors. Call the association of ASU, call a labor, bring them together. These key people, bring the transport. What can we do as an interim thing? So that you bring tapping the problem before them. We let them to demonstrate. We actually have a problem. You are going to demonstrate. Now, actually, what is the problem? Collaborate them into the system. Make it what? A whole joint effort. Look, this is advantage of removing the fuel subsidy. You have people have key into it. We believe in this dream. That this is the problem, but how do we do it now? For example, I don't have ministers now, but whatever we raise now within you and these 3-man committee, 5-man committee, 7-man committee, with this people, the labor, the labor, the transport workers Transportation Association of Nigeria, that is workers, bring them together. Even bring the medical sector, bring them together. Everything, bring some of this union, the union of teachers, have three representatives. You understand now? Let's see, what is your input here? What is the immediate effect you think how we can do this, resolve this crisis? This is what we have, this is what we don't have. You bring them into the government. Bring us into it. Believe me, they will not go on to strike. You have no issue with strike because you have brought the problem before them, and they are now the chief judge, part of the judgment. People that to articulate a remedy to it. Then what are we saying? here is that we are not taking advantage of what? Of our institutions. That is why we are seeing as if our institutions are not working. If I am Mr. President, call the president as to all the presidents, as to in the CGO political zone, the NUT, National Union of Teachers, the laborers, bring them together, sit with them together, give us 3 nights, give them accommodation and feeding everything. Let's work out modalities within now and 1 week. I'm giving 1 week. Be part of it. I'm going to pay you for this one. You understand now? Good. Believe me, we will get answer to resort to it. That is number one. Then we now look at the long-term effect. How do we solve this problem? The long-term solution is a look. I said it in one of my outing before that we have, when Abacha increased fuel, if I'm not mistaken, from 2 naira to 4 naira, there was a margin of difference of 2 naira. That 2 naira was what they used to what? To institute the PTF then. And it was headed by President Muhammad Buhari. He was the chairman of that body. And within 3 months of its inauguration, establishment, it swung into action. Within 2 years, my brother, we felt the impact of PTF in every sector of our life. You are talking of education, health, you are talking of social infrastructure, everything. Anywhere you go, you see PTF project going. Road, electricity, in the hospital, you see PTF Panadol, PTF bedsheet, everywhere. And in that aspect, they have a consortium that work with PTF Buhari. And that is what the same PTF that generated people that are later become people of integrity in Nigeria, like Dora Quinley of blessed memory. So you see, what we have to do is let's look at history. What has worked for us as a nation and what has not worked for us as a nation. Whatever has worked for in the previous way, then we now modify it. You understand now? In the best appropriate way, we digitalize it and bring it to the fora, and let's use it and solve our problems.
All right, that's fair enough. Let's quickly take a report now on the protest that is currently ongoing. Right after that report, we'll talk about it. You know, the NLC's their stance, their strategy in achieving this. You've spoken about what the government should do. I'd like to hear your thoughts now about how you feel the labor unions should be addressing this. But let's quickly take a look at that report now. When we return, we go straight into the matter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.